Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Green Room. We've got a great show planned for you tonight, but first, here's an update on what's been growing on. A lot has been happening since I last updated you all. This last week, I uppotted all of my flower seedlings. I've got my zinnias, my cosmos, my celosias, and my snapdragons all in solo cups, commandeering my desk, which is now a seedling station. And I've got all my stuff starting for the grow tent. We're a week away from being back in the grow tent, so I've got a bunch of stuff going. I've got lettuce, herbs, I've got some tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplants, I've got some basil over there, some parsley, and I also have a bunch of lettuce seeds that just popped the other day. We've got a lot growing on, and that escalated quickly. And now it's time to enjoy the show.
All right, all of my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people, welcome to the Green Room here on the Let's Get Growing show on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch here, host of the show. Wait a minute, I'm totally getting this wrong. Not only is it awesome to have all of you here with us, but let's also welcome our co-host of the show too. Let's get her in here. Natalie from the Fresh Princess joining with us here.
What's up, Enoch? Happy Monday and happy Monday, gardeners. I, as always, am excited to be here. We've got an awesome show planned for you guys tonight. Tonight, we actually have Charles Malki of Ivy Organics. As well as...
We got our host or our sponsor of the show, Charles Malki from Ivy Organic, and Tom Spellman joining with us here too, back on the show with us here, fruit tree expert, and just awesome to have both of these guys here on the show with us tonight. And definitely
great guests, and it's going to be a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it as always. And also, just at the top of the show, shout out to all of our replay viewers. For those of you that couldn't make it for the live, thank you all for watching the replay, and let us know in the comments that you were here.
Yes, definitely for all of you who are joining us on Team Replay, definitely get into the comments, but also all of you who are here with us live tonight. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us here. Join in on the conversation. And we also have our roll call. Roll call will be coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And this is a chance for you to let us know you're here. Let us know where you're growing from, what you got growing on. We'll give you a shout out here in just a few minutes for a roll call and throughout the show, and especially for our guests coming up here in just a little bit to drop in those questions. And we'll try to get those in our conversation with our guests coming up a little bit later on in the show. Yes. How are things going for you, Natalie? A busy week. I mean, I loved what we saw there in the clip there at the beginning of the show. All of these cool little things going on, all the little starts bubbling in the trays and all of that. I mean, it's just
we've got grow tent starts and outdoor garden starts. I'm managing a lot of things right now between preparing for the outdoor garden. Tent. Today marks officially 1 week until I'm back in the grow tent. So I've got...
is it really going by that quick? Only 1 week away?
Yeah, it's been 45 days.
Wow.
And still a lot to do. So it's kind of, a hurry up and wait kind of thing. And the waiting period is over, and now we got to hurry up again. So
And then
the
hurry up and hurry up.
Yeah, the outdoor garden, been dig in some additional beds.
So when we saw in the clip there at the beginning, you saw it had all those really cool cups. I like the cup
Yeah,
start
they're right
too.
behind me, the solo cups. Yeah.
Solo cups, that was kind of my still kind of my thing as well too, for like
Yeah.
upstarts or larger starts for plants and all of that are solo cups, and
Yeah.
love seeing that they're in there. But lots of flowers, so you
A
got a lot
lot
of
of
flowers,
flowers.
so that's mainly what you're going to be doing in your outdoor garden.
Yeah, I've got some tomatoes and stuff going in the outdoor as well, but really I'm focusing on a flower garden. I really
Yeah.
want to do that this summer. I've also got tubers I've ordered, a dahlia tuber, so it's going to be a big
Okay.
botanical garden this summer. I can't wait. It's going to be beautiful.
That's great. That's great. I was
Yeah.
also, following along and saw some clips too of these just new big garden beds that you got put in. Have you got them all filled up yet?
No, that's going to be the next. That's why I'm saying I got my work cut out for me. I don't have much time, and I have
Yeah,
to get
they're
these
big.
things
Those are
built.
good sized beds you've got there for sure.
Yeah, they're 8 by 4 by 2, and so I have 3 of them. So I'm gonna need like 10 cubic yards and to fill
Yeah,
them. And it's just, yeah, it's gonna be expensive and it's gonna be a lot, but there are ways around it, right? Filling it with other things. So
yeah, yeah,
I've got a
definitely.
neighbor's tree encroaching on my property that is just very annoying. It gives me shade too early on in the day, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna just, saw
you have to
off some
do
of the
some
branches and
cutting
put
back.
them, yeah, put them in my bed to, fill it up a little bit so I don't have to spend as much on soil.
Right, right. That exactly. That's what I was going to ask you too, with the beds like that, using some filler or some
Yeah,
things, branches, large, wood and all that sort of stuff, other composting type of thing.
yeah, I'm gonna
You just
have to.
toss down in there.
Yeah, I have no choice because it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot to
Hmm.
fill. So
Hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
the best way to save on costs and make it more efficient.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's always been my biggest fear of mine, of like getting some big large beds like that. I've always kind of made mine and built mine so I get enough planting room but not too deep. I do
Well,
have one of them back there though that is really deep, that I use for like when I try to grow my container carrots, and I
oh yeah,
want to get some
that's a good
really
idea.
good long deep carrots. So I built it, made it just a little bit extra deep,
Yeah.
just because I wanted to make sure I had enough room to grow some good long carrots.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna
yeah,
say, like, you know how I do. Go big or go home.
that's
So
right. That's right. That's what you got to do.
that's how I operate. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I'm up for the challenge. It's gonna be quite the workout to carry all that dirt, but I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah, yeah. You'll have
Gotta
fun
get
with
in
it.
shape anyway, so
You'll have
may
fun
as
with
well.
it. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
How's your outdoor garden growing?
going growing along pretty well right now. I again too, it's been, as I was mentioning the last time we were on, um weather is just kind of really kind of the focus, because I'm still kind of playing with my last frost date, whether or not I can get
Yeah.
something started or going or not. And because I've been wanting to get a early start on my tomatoes, but we had this freeze last week, which really kind of got in the way of everything. Killed, oh man, it did so much damage to stuff that I'm still
That's
kind of
terrible.
discovering and finding back there as I'm going through other plants and stuff. My grapes just got devastated.
How's your
The
fig tree?
figs,
Yeah, how's your fig tree doing?
losing a lot of the leaves that were damaged and all of that. But again, you can see the growing tips are just starting to get going again too.
Yeah,
So here in the next few weeks, they'll start sprawling back out and continue to go and all of that, which is gonna be interesting. We've got some fruit tree expert with us on tonight here on our show, so I'm gonna have to ask him a little bit about that and what
yeah,
that sort of thing, especially figs and everything too, which was, it was just, yeah, well, it was just so kind of devastating to see some of these things kind of happen to some of this stuff and everything. But plants are resilient too as well, and they're just gonna continue to grow, just grow new branches and new leaves, and
yeah,
and probably will look like nothing ever happened here real soon, hopefully. But
for sure. But it's
it's
still
tough to
it's always
see.
unfortunate. It's always unfortunate.
Yeah,
It doesn't make it easier, but
yeah,
like you
it's
said, plants are resilient, and
hmm
I'm
hmm
sure they'll
exactly. So after having that happen, I'm just kind of keeping a closer eye on with the forecast is looking like, as we're now going to be approaching, as we look 10-day forecast, and just maybe 5-6 days or so, we'll be right around the, be able to see towards what is our actual last frost date. And so that's where I'm going to get some of the other peppers I've got going out. But right now I'm trying to harden off my tomatoes because they've been indoors, trying to make sure they're kind of getting used to getting outdoors a little bit. So giving them a few hours right now, and then in the next couple of days, I'm going to probably start putting those out. And then I'll wait just a little bit longer with some of the peppers and the eggplants and some of the other things that I've got going. Heading outdoors and all of that.
I'd rather play it safe than sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
it's okay.
Yeah.
You'll have all summer to enjoy. So, give it a couple more weeks and I'm sure it'll be safe.
Yeah. No, it's great though. I mean, been getting out there a lot though, really spending a bunch of hours. I really let some things go during the winter time in some of these other back spaces that I have towards the alleyways and stuff. And so I'm just looking at those now as I've been working on these other areas and getting them ready. I'm looking at all this other, I'm like, man, I really let things go. I got a lot of other stuff to go to get some of those spaces ready to go. But for the most part, it's been fun. It's been exciting to get out there and finally look at some of the stuff and get some of these things growing and planted out and sowing some things. I'm looking towards the squash and the beans and all that sort of stuff as well too. So yeah, really excited. It's really great, finally. Finally, to really, planting and transplanting and putting things outdoors and getting things going for me, catching up with the things that needed to get done to get here, but having all of this stuff kind of converge together. Last frost date's coming up. I got tons of really cool starts that are excited about getting outdoors and everything. So, woohoo, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Time is now. So that's exciting. 'Tis the season, right? I see everyone talking about, transplanting, like you said, and starting to see things pop out of the ground. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get a lettuce tower growing outside myself. I'm gonna try.
Yeah, that's right. You were talking about you were going to do one of the towers and everything. So
yeah,
primary lettuce is going to be the primary crop.
Yeah, just to give it a shot, see how it does outside.
See how it does. Yeah. It ought to do perfect where you're at. I can't imagine. You probably have awesome lettuce. I
mean, there's no such thing as perfect, but we'll see.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's right. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Close enough.
Close enough is right. All right. Let's do this. Let's jump in and see who we got joining with us here on the Green Room tonight here on the show. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of roll call.
My name is Kevin.
Yeah.
That is my name.
Yeah.
They call me Kevin.
Yeah.
Because that's my name.
Roll call.
All right. Roll call. This is where you all get to jump in here in the conversation. My banner, there it is. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're growing from. Let me know what you've got growing on in your garden. This is our shout out segment of the show. And first off, let's go ahead and give a huge shout out to our good friend and chat facilitator, producer, all around J-Bot in the background with us right now, joining us from Midwestern Ontario, Canada, in the lee of Lake Huron, joining us here. So everybody keep an eye out in the chat there for links and further information about things that we're discussing. If you got a channel too and you'd like a shout out as well, let us know about your channels too, and Jay can pop a link to your channel for everybody to go check out if you'd like as well too. Right. Thanks again, Jay. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, Robin from Chicagoland. What's up, Robin? Thank you for joining after a week in WI. Is that Wisconsin? Crawl space.
Oh yeah, Wisconsin, right? So she was off on a trip. Okay,
nice.
I see.
My seedlings enjoyed the getaway with us. Nice.
Back in Chicagoland, though, for sure. What's this? Crawl space flood there has been dealt with. Oh my gosh. Snow melt, heavy spring rains. My seedlings enjoyed the getaway with us. Seedlings enjoyed the getaway with you.
So you took them with you?
That's what I was wondering. Maybe that's worded wrong. Maybe I'm not reading that right.
Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Serena?
Serena. Hey, cousin. Great to have you there. Oh, she says she has pneumonia. Oh my gosh, for the first time ever, 102 fever. Oh my. Oh
Wow.
my gosh. Hopefully you start to feel better real soon.
Yeah, speedy recovery, Serena.
Oh my gosh, pneumonia is no fun. No fun.
Wickershire, what is up? Good to see you. Almost time to roll. Yeah, well, now it is time to roll.
Yeah, he must have got that in before we got started.
Yeah, totally.
Way to get in early, Wicker. Awesome to have you here. What does he say here? Now, the proud owners of Optunia humuf. Oh my gosh, I did not get
Humifusa.
it. Humifusa. There you go. Or the Eastern prickly pear cactus, learning to dislike it in less than 30 seconds of handling the bugger.
Oh
Cute
my
but
gosh, yeah.
painfully nasty. Ouch.
Oh my gosh,
Ouch.
yeah.
Oh my. Let's see, we got Dusty Flats here with us as well. Awesome, Dusty. Great to see you. Awesome.
Vase Place, good evening.
Vase Place. Awesome to have you here with us tonight. Thank you for joining us here. MKP in
What's
the
up?
chat with us all. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. We're woo woo. Here we go.
Got a lot of excited gardeners in the chat today.
I love it. Excited. Let's go.
Greetings, global gardeners from Emerald Coast, Florida, where 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, that's nice. It's definitely warmer than here, that's for sure. Rub it in, bow tie.
Yeah, yeah.
Week ahead, yeah.
Darn it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Baker Creek Week. That's exciting. He's going to be going live.
Yeah. We're gonna have him on our Sunday show live. Oh yeah.
Sorry. I just realized. Sorry.
No problem. But yeah, no, he's going to the Baker Creek Spring Festival. We're gonna have him joining with us live on our Sunday show this next weekend. So we'll have Bowtie David live from Baker Creek Spring Festival, and he's also doing some live pre our show. So before our show, he'll be live on his channel, and then even some more afterwards live. So he's gonna have a whole cool, fun live day at the Baker Creek Festival. If anybody and everybody wants to go check that out, you can also find Bowtie David's link down below in our description too. So you can find his channel if you need to find the channel and check out what they've got going on over at Baker Creek. It's gonna be really fun. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to show us and what guests he's going to be able to pull aside for us on the show this next Sunday. It's going to be really fun.
What's up? Good to see you. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you. We got Look to Nature Homestead. What's cracking, my friends? Philly Burbs in the house.
Nice.
Here we go. Philly. Here we go. Eddie.
Yeah, somebody say Eddie. What's up, Eddie?
Eduardo Esqui. Yes. Roll call. That's right, Eddie. Excellent. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. Have you tried this name before?
Yes, Methydicus Brighticus.
Oh, Brighticus.
Good evening. You're headed back to the tunnel to get some more seeding in. Plant sales are approaching quickly. Nice. Happy growing.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. We got Vicwick Gardens. Hello. Great to have you here in the chat with us. Great to have you with us tonight. Thanks for being here. We're moving along here. I think we got, look who else we got here with us.
Oh, we got Sow and Tear in the house. Hope everyone is doing well. My seeds in the garden are finally sprouting. That's what I'm saying. It's the season now. Finally. Things are sprouting.
We got sprouts, young little seedlings and plants. Things are getting excited. We're getting to transplant things, getting them outdoors. This is the fun time for sure. Let's see here. We also got there we are. The Grumpy Bulldog in the house.
Yeah, good to see you, Grumpy Bulldog. Thanks for hanging out.
Love it.
What's up, Doyle?
Doyle Wayne, right on, right on. I think that's, I think we got to, wait, what did he say? Grumpy Bulldog says, huge shout out to Habitual Hobbies and her contest. Can't
Yeah.
believe I won. Oh, a winner.
Congrats, Grumpy
Well,
Bulldog.
love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
I'll tease something else too. I was talking with one of our guests before we were getting started here, and he was talking about wanting to do some giveaways too as well. So a little tease for maybe a little bit later. So hang on, everybody, for our guests coming up here in just a few minutes as well too. But thanks everyone for jumping in to the chat with us here, jumping in for roll call. If you didn't get your name in yet, go ahead and drop in and let us know you're here and all of that as well too. Plus questions too. We got our guests coming up here in just a little bit. Drop in your questions into the chat as well for our guests coming up. And yeah, we've got a great show still ahead for you here with some really awesome guests. As we mentioned, we got Tom Spellman and Charles Malki from Ivy Organics here in just a few minutes. But we also have our good friend Robin from Chicagoland joining us this week for Grow What You Eat.
Welcome back to the Plant of the Month, and this month I am bringing you the Patterson onion. Heirloom lovers, hang on, don't close your ears just yet, because this hybrid deserves your consideration. Heirloom varieties bring history, flavor, and seed saving to our gardens, but hybrids, they have a great supporting role. You know, the F1 Patterson was bred for specific characteristics, and those strengths matter to me as a grower. They're disease resistant, they're uniform, and they have a very, very long storage life. While they aren't meant for seed saving, they often outperform heirloom varieties and store longer. Think of a hybrid as your dependable pantry crop. The onions you can count on to last through the winter, while your heirlooms shine as flavor and genetic storytellers. A balanced garden has room for both tradition and practicality. If you're anything like me, heirloom varieties usually steal your heart and most of your garden space. But every once in a while, a hybrid comes along that earns a permanent place in the planting plan. The Patterson, well, it's one of those rare standouts. Once you grow it, you'll understand why I swear by it. Patterson onions were bred with one goal in mind: exceptional storage. And they deliver. Under proper curing and storage conditions, the Patterson will last up to 10 months, making them a true workhorse for growers who value pantry reliability as much as garden performance. Imagine slicing into a firm, flavorful onion next year, one you grew yourself the previous spring. I happen to be up in Wisconsin at the Wisconsin Place, and we haven't been up here since December because of my fractured shoulder. And look what was in my kitchen. 2 Patterson onions. I brought up a couple tiny onions to have the next time we came up, and we haven't come up till then. But you can see, although I have none of these left at home, they're still firm and just wonderful. And these are on the small side, but we're 2 people. So that is a perfect size for a recipe, right? In the garden, The Patterson onions are impressively uniform. They produce round bulbs with beautiful golden brown skins. They're known for their strong tops and excellent disease resistance and dependable yields. Their balanced classic onion flavor works beautifully for fresh eating, for sautéing, most cooking, and even for those crock-pot long simmering meals. But where the Patterson truly shines is after harvest. They have a tight neck and they cure well and resist sprouting early, which I can't say for many of the open pollinated varieties. For a gardener focused on food security, self-sufficiency, or simply fewer trips to the grocery store, this onion checks off every one of those boxes. So what's my growing setup? Well, I have raised beds. They're in full sun, and the onions love that. They germinate in 7 days typically for me. The package says 7 to 10. Sometimes it'll take a little bit longer. One thing to note about onion seeds in general is you don't want to keep them after 1 year because their germination rate is among the strongest plummet of any seed out there other than parsnips, I think. So how do I feed them? Well, you've heard me say it before. I put alfalfa pellets under 4 inches of a leaf mold organic compost that I have delivered. In the spring, when I plant them in, I use a balanced organic granular fertilizer and some azomite in the hole. Now, here's the important part that is different from most vegetables. You hit these babies once a week with a weak solution of liquid nitrogen. Now that can be a organic fish emulsion, an organic Chilean nitrate, you pick it, but you gotta hit them regularly because you want lots of leaves. Those are the solar panels. And every one of those leaves that you have equals a ring around on the onion. I have very fertile, well-drained soil full of organic matter, and that's what onions love. And they don't like wet feet. So don't pick a spot where water hangs out. You want it to drain away. They want about 1 inch of water a week. I start my seeds in mid-February indoors, and I harden them off, and I typically transplant them out the first week of May. This year I'm experimenting, and I put them out the first week of April. I did cover them with an over-the-earth greenhouse. Sometimes those are called a drop-over greenhouse. That protects them from the winds and the bulk of any severe weather that comes. I did have hail, and so they were protected from that. I did have a pretty deep freeze night, but it didn't last. It was only a few hours. The onions did just fine thus far. So I'm excited. I might have a leg up this year. We'll see if it makes a difference. So as long as we're up by the lake, I'm going to add in a little bonus at this point, and that's a little clip of the lake, because that's the reason we come up here. Now, how do I harvest and cure them? Well, when the bulb has formed and the leaves have fallen over at the neck of the onion, that is when they are ready to harvest. They are done growing. You can leave them there for a couple of weeks to dry. Now, if it's going to rain, I would strongly suggest that you yank them. What I do when I yank them, I brush off any dirt, but I do not wash my onions. It will add more moisture and jeopardize your storage capability. I'll let them dry for a little bit in the sun that day, and then I take them into the garage. When I put them in the garage, I have them on wire shelves, spread out well, and then I have an oscillating fan blowing back and forth onto those onions. And they stay like that for about 4 weeks. And that's when they turn that nice brown shade. And that's when I will cut off the leaves. Don't do it until that happens. I will sanitize the instrument that I use to cut them off as well before I do. You don't want to cut it off too early because this is where disease and so forth could enter your onion and jeopardize its storage capability. After I cut those leaves off, I let them stay there usually another couple of weeks. So I find that I am drying them off for about 6 weeks. And then I'll put them in my garage, which is a cool, dark spot. You don't want them to get to the light because they're more apt to sprout, but the box does have ventilation. And I will check them often during the winter to make sure that I don't have anybody going bad. That doesn't typically happen though with the Patterson onion for me. So yes, heirlooms will always have a place in my garden, but if you're looking to round out your onion lineup with a dependable long keeper, consider the Patterson onions. Sometimes practicality trumps tradition, correct? Remember, grow what you eat and eat what you grow.
Ivy Organic was founded on the gardening concept of whitewashing, simply lightening your plants to better tolerate weather extremes, transplant shock, and so much more. Such a valuable gardening practice that farmers have been doing it since BC times. However, in recent years, most research has been caring for plants and trees using latex and tar-based products which are designed to last 100 years but fall off your plants within 1 to 2 years as your plants grow, contaminating your garden soil indefinitely. Ivy Organic gives organic commercial orchards and backyard growers an organic and healthier alternative. Also, unlike latex and tar-based products, Ivy Organic dries on porous, allowing moisture and nutrients to pass so that your coated surfaces such as grafting wounds and pruned branches will not rot. Ivy Organic has 2 general categories of whitewash products. The 3-in-1 Plant Guard, which includes 7 natural oils including castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint, which offer insect and rodent repellent protection, and the whitewash oil-free formula. Both products also have diatomaceous earth in the base ingredients, which naturally offer some insect repellent protection too. As always, keep growing with Ivy Organics and wishing you all happy gardening.
Why wait for the right season to start your garden when you can grow anything you want all year round? This is my indoor garden where I grow all of my own produce regardless of the season. Aeroponically grown food, pesticide-free, all organic. The mission is to inspire and educate others to do the same. Whether you're limited in space or not, an indoor garden can be your reality. Follow along as I explore all the ways to achieve a successful indoor garden. From aeroponic Dutch buckets to vertical grow towers, I experiment with all kinds of grow mediums and varieties. Let's learn and grow together and reclaim our food sovereignty.
All right. Here we are back at it.
Yeah, what a great segment. Honestly, I've never tried onion, but when I do, I will be trying the Patterson onion.
Growing onion in general.
Yeah, I've never tried growing it. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I
incredible.
eat onion all the time. I've never tried growing it, is what I meant.
Yeah. I got a bunch of like Walla Wallas that both me and my gave some to my neighbor, and all they're planting over there, and starting to get them planted out here in our alleyway.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. I had some like purple onions that I was growing, and I can't remember what the variety of those ones were, but I'm not sure what they grew again, but they went to seed real quick. I don't know if they were some. I'm kind of confused because I don't think they were in their second year. But a few of them went to seed, but a couple of them are bulbing up all right too. But,
nice.
But yeah, so I'm gonna get those out and then put those Walla Wallas in here. Hopefully tomorrow is probably what the plan
Exciting.
is for that. So onions are great. I've never tried the Patterson before. I might have to try that because again, too, I do like smaller sized things though too, as she was talking about, because I don't need big onions. I'm only for myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
when it comes down to it.
Yeah, they're
But
the perfect size. So I'll have to try those when the time comes and I decide to take on
yeah,
onions. I will.
yeah, take on some onions.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Usually this time of the show, I tell you a little bit about what we've had going on this weekend
Yeah.
on the show. Not much. I just kind of hung out with everybody on Saturday. We didn't have a show yesterday, actually. So I'm kind of breaking the last couple of weeks, been breaking my 3-day gardening weekend situation. But
Okay.
no, it's all right. No, it's great.
Short weekends are acceptable once in a while.
Yeah. It's just kind of the way the schedule's kind of worked out a little bit and everything. But I do want to kind of let everybody know about last weekend still, though. Last weekend we had some great shows with our good friend Gardner Scott. He came and did a Saturday version of his Ask Gardner Scott, all your garden questions answered. He comes and joins with us every second Sunday of the month to answer all of your garden questions. But we pushed it up a week and had him on Saturday this last week. And then we also got to meet Jamie from the Desert Rat Gardener. Jamie, it was a real fun conversation with her, learning about what she's got growing on in her garden and all of that. And then that was our third weekend of the month. So that meant that the Sunday edition was our monthly gardening book club with my good friend, Mr. MBC, Mark Roche Colbert, joined with us live for In the Garden and to come join me as co-host to interview Emily Murphy. We featured this last month her book, Grow Now. So Emily joined with us last Sunday on the show for a really great conversation about just a really fantastic book. I think that anybody who's just getting started growing or gardening and and you're just wanting to learn a little bit more about some of these just larger topics around gardening, just a great book. Emily was a great interview. You want to go back and check that conversation out. And then of course we were here last Monday with Julia DeMakos, and our very own Shawnee Grows was here with us on the Green Room last week. So
Yeah, it was a great conversation. Well, it's always the time always flies when we're hanging out with fellow gardeners, but it was really cool to also talk to a fellow Canadian,
Yeah, that's right. We had a fellow Canadian. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was fun. I enjoyed that. So
That's right. That's right. And so last week again, I got surrounded. I had all the ladies with me. So
yeah.
and so this week, Natalie gets all the guys for with her to this week. So
Yeah.
it's time. Actually, let's jump right into this. Our
right.
guests are waiting in the wings, so it's time for the Green Room. All right. So let's welcome to the show. You just saw his face just a minute ago. You see him every weekend, actually, here on the show all the time. We see,
Charles.
yeah, there's our friend Charles Malki from Ivy Organic. Can you hear us, Charles? Everything
Let's see.
sound all right? You hear us? All right. And then we've got
Here you go.
Tom Spellman, fruit tree expert, joining with us, back on the show again.
Yeah,
I got
thank you both
you
for
two
joining us.
together back again, so this is awesome.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Right on. So here,
Hi,
real
guys.
quick, here at the top of the show, we're going to go ahead and give each of you here a few minutes to go ahead and let us know a little bit about yourselves and what you got going on and all of that. And let's go ahead and start with you, Charles. Tell us. I mean, everybody, like I was saying, everybody gets to see you, Charles. When it comes down to it, we get to see you several times throughout the weekend here on the show and everything. So it's always fun to get you here live with us, to come and hang out and everything. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on over there at Ivy Organic. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I don't know if Charles can hear us here. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pass this over to you real quick, and we'll kind of see what we can do here and see if Charles can figure out what the audio there is or something. But Tom, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Clear.
Okay,
Yeah, why don't you
good.
tell us a little bit about
So,
yourself?
Tom, I hear you.
Oh,
Can you
there.
hear me?
Well, there's
We
Charles.
can all hear you, but you're not hearing me,
But I don't
Charles?
hear Enoch.
Interesting.
Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh. I hope
Oh, can't hear me either.
you can't hear you either, but you can hear the guests can hear each other. But
Are we okay?
You want me to prompt Charles?
So everybody else can hear us and everything.
I can hear you, Tom.
So what they're asking for is just a little introduction from each of us. If you want to talk about what's going on at Ivy Organics and talk about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what we're
take it
gonna do with the.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for the introduction. My name's Charles Malki. I am a biologist plant expert here with Ivy Organics. We have for well over 10 years been offering gardeners around the world with products that are organic, and predominantly our company started off with the gardening concept known as whitewashing, and trying to offer gardeners an alternative, an organic alternative to using synthetic paint, products you'd buy from the big box store, or so again, relying on latex and or tar-based products for basically painting your trees. Ivy Organics found an all organic, long-lasting way of protecting your plants from weather extremes, in addition to guarding your plants from pests such as insects and rodents. Our number one best-selling product that we've been making available to consumers around the world is the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard, protection from damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, in addition to insects and rodents. And the way the product works is it basically has a powder that's based on limestone, clay, these milk proteins that create a strong bond, in addition to these 7 natural oils, which include castor, cinnamon, clove, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. When encapsulated and brushed on your tree, offers longevity in regards to protecting your plants from pests as well. And we've also gone into fertilizers, but I'm going to save the rest of my talk. And I'm honored to also be sharing the floor with Tom Spellman, the leading fruit tree expert on fruit tree care, I would say, on the planet, and looking forward to hopefully hearing some of the questions relating to fruit tree care from your audience. And thank you, Enoch and Natalie, for hosting the two of us this afternoon. Thanks.
Thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Great,
Are you
Charles.
able to hear us, Charles? Can you hear me?
He's still not able to hear us.
He
Hey,
can't-
Tom, how about you could relate to him just real quick that maybe we'll have him kind of bounce out and come back in,
Yeah.
because that might help
Charles are
read.
saying, why don't you try and bounce out and come back in and see if we can.
I was thinking the same thing. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, no problem. And for everybody here, definitely drop into the chat here. And let's see here.
I was gonna say it feels a little lonely here all of a sudden.
I know. We're we usually got our 4-panel versus doing a 3-panel here. But yeah, everybody jump in for questions too.
Yeah.
We've got a fruit tree expert here with us, so let's see some questions about some fruit trees and all of that as well too. And
and Tom,
again,
why don't you take the floor for a minute? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah.
Sure. So I have been involved in horticulture in Southern California for well over 50 years. I started as a snot-nosed teenager when I was a freshman in high school, and was just offered a job in a little retail nursery and enjoyed it and never really looked back. I think I can relate a lot of my success to the fact that I've had some great mentors in my career. I've been able to work with some giants in horticulture, and it's been a real privilege for me to work with those wonderful people. One of my great mentors was a man named Dieter Lauder that owned Laverne Nursery, and he was just a genius as far as propagation, and he's the one that really kind of got me really involved in fruit trees. So we did
Yeah.
we did avocados, we did subtropical fruits, we did a fair amount of deciduous, peach, plum, nectarine, apples, Asian pears, persimmons, things like that. So I've been able to work with Dieter for many years, for 20 years. He still remains one of my best friends. And then I went to work for Dave Wilson Nursery in the early 2000s and had about a 24-year career with them, representing them in the Southwestern United States, and recently retired last July from my day-to-day job. But I'm still doing consulting, and I'm still working with some other good friends that I've had in the wholesale nursery industry. So I'm not ready to put myself out to pasture. I'm just ready to spend a little bit more time with my family and my granddaughters and my puppy dogs, and do things that I want to do. So that's where I've been. But
congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a long, great career.
Yeah, and just the fact that
All right, let's see if
I've
this
had
is
so much fun
here.
over the years.
Charles, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better experience. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Charles. Yes,
We
we
don't have
got
to
you
play
now.
operator now. This is great.
That's right. Perfect.
It was kind of fun for a minute, though.
I know. I kind of I was like wondering, like, can we really do that? We'll just relay all the questions through Tom, and we'll have Tom That is great. Right on. So again, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining in with us here on the show tonight. It's really great. Again, we've had both of you on before together in previous shows to talk again about some fruit trees and all of that. So again, we'll hopefully get into some good conversation about that coming up here. But before we do that, though, something we like to do with our guests here before we get the conversation started is we like to kind of jump you in here with a little thing we like to call the lightning round.
So right at the top of the show, we like to put our guests in the hot seat, stress you out a little bit before we get into the conversation. And I'm just kidding. It's a fun way for the viewers to get to know you. It's 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds to answer 10 questions, rapid fire style questions. So first thing that comes to mind, have fun with it. And you just try to get all 10 within the 60 seconds. And so,
all right. You guys,
Tom, if you're ready, Tom, if you're up for the challenge.
Oh, let's do it.
All right.
Okay. Well, here we go. And okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Because there we go. Other way. Let's do this one.
Yeah.
There we go.
We got Tom in the hot
we
seat.
brought Charles in different there, so it switched up my panels a little bit because we brought him back in afterwards.
Okay.
So a little bit different, but that's all right. Here we go. Tom, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, as soon as the clock starts, let's get going. 60 seconds, 10 questions.
Favorite plant in your garden right now?
Japanese maples.
What's always in your fridge from the garden?
Peppers.
First plant you ever grew?
An Opuntia cactus.
Favorite part of working in a nursery?
Bantering with an array of people.
Biggest gardening myth you wish would disappear?
Ooh, that's a good one. That you can't grow cherries in Southern California.
All right. If you could only grow one fruit tree for a whole season, what's your pick?
Bear's seedless lime.
Interesting. Finish this sentence. I knew I was officially a gardener when?
When I made my grandmother buy me a peach tree.
There you go.
Yeah, we got a couple more, but I'm going to ask them anyways. But great job. You got 7 out of 10. So I got a few more, but I'll just ask them anyways because I'm sure everyone wants to know. The one gardening tool you didn't think you needed, but now you can't live without.
Oh, I hate to say this, but it's my iPhone.
Yes. That's a tool, right?
I've never heard that one, but that's actually true.
No,
I love it. There
my
you
most
go.
important tool.
Yeah, most difficult fruit tree you've ever grown.
Emerald Butte plum, because I grew it for 12 years and never had more than a handful of fruit off it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is your biggest gardening inspiration?
I'd have to go back to my old mentor, Dieter Lauter.
There you go.
Nice. Well, thank you. You
Awesome.
did a great
Awesome.
job. That was great. And
Awesome,
we'll have
Tom.
to circle back because I have some follow-up questions.
Yeah, for sure. There's some great. There you go. Absolutely. All right, Charles.
All
I could
Are you
right.
actually
ready? Are you ready?
I could
Yep.
actually hear Tom's heart beating. I hope it doesn't happen to me too.
All right.
That's what we love about doing this. This is what's so fun about it. We get you really going here.
We like to torture our guests.
That's right. Exactly.
So same questions, right? Same questions.
No, different questions.
Of course.
Well, could be similar.
There's
Could
a
be
little bit of
different,
overlap.
A little mixing
You'll have to-
up and all of
you'll have
that.
to go
We
through
try
the
to make it
lightning round
unique
to
for
find out.
everybody.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Once the clock gets started here, 60 seconds, 10 questions.
Biggest gardening myth you wish would disappear?
Plants only have 3 macronutrients.
If you could only grow one edible crop for a whole season, what's your pick?
Lemons.
Finish this sentence. I knew I was officially a gardener when?
When I learn how to graft.
One tool you didn't think you needed, but now you can't live without.
Pruners.
Who is your biggest most difficult plant you've ever grown?
None. They're all growing them all. We're in Southern California.
Who is your biggest gardening inspiration?
We're with him right now, Tom Spellman.
Love it.
Yes.
Direct sowing seeds or seeds starting early?
I missed that question.
Direct sowing seeds or seeds starting early?
Direct sowing.
World, where would it be?
I'm living it. Los Angeles, California.
Love that.
Yeah.
Worst gardening advice you've ever received?
I'm going to go back to plants only have 3 macronutrients.
All right. And we've got one last one. Favorite gardening chore?
Weeding.
Weeding. There you go.
Wow, that's uncommon. Not a lot of people enjoy weeding.
Yeah. Let's dig into that just a little bit more, Charles.
I'll just on that last one
I'm
with
sure
the
there's
weeding. If you've got time in the garden, that means you've finished everything else on your plate. So the fact that if I'm weeding, then that means life's really good at this point, that I've got time to be working on those details around the property. So but yeah, that means I'm at a pretty good relaxed state of life at this point.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. You'd think that, from what you hear a lot of folks mostly out there is that the weeding's got to be the worst thing, because they're just like always like, oh, how do I deal with this weed? What constantly deal with all sorts of different things and stuff. But yeah, I think that's great though, that you find it to be something that you enjoy. Favorite thing, get out there, pull those weeds.
I still remember going back in time 20, 30 years ago, my dad saying, one day you'll make enough money, you'll hire someone to fix your sprinklers, weed, and prune your plants and do all of that work. And I'm like, this is my hobby, this is my passion, and this is what I do. So my property doesn't get visited by any landscapers or anybody. So all the parts are, and when you come and visit, it's my creation, it's my canvas, and it's what I've created for people to come and enjoy.
I like that way you put that, a canvas, right?
Yeah.
Because that's true. I mean, you're really out there just, creating your own little masterpiece out there, however your garden spaces are, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. So we had the both of you kind of introduce yourselves at the top of the show, but why don't we kind of dive in a little bit further? Well, starting with you, Tom, how did you get into fruit trees? Like, what got you into that world? Let's take it back. Give us a little background on that.
Well, when actually in the mid 1970s, I actually went to work for a company called Armstrong Nurseries here in Southern California, and they were big producers of fruit trees and roses. And they wanted me to work in their retail department, but I was more interested in understanding hybridization and propagation, and I really wanted to work with the wholesalers. So I made them a deal where I would work um, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as in their retail department if they would let me work 2 days a week with the propagators and the hybridizers. So I learned my first initial fruit tree, evaluations and propagation techniques in that period, working with some great people at Armstrong Nurseries. And then I was offered this position with Laverne Nursery as a general manager, and they were great propagators. So I really wanted to dig more deeply into that, and I never got enough. I just can't, I can't leave it aside. So that's and my whole career has been involved in fruit, since the early 1970s. So I feel really fortunate that for well over 50 years, I've been able to do something that I love every day.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to live life, is when you get to do what you love, but also for a living as well.
Yeah.
So it's so fulfilling and it's so nice. And so I feel like it's a fitting question. What is your favorite fruit from a tree?
Well, it depends on which week. I do have a wonderful situation of living in Southern California where I can pick fruit out of my garden every single day of the week, every single day of the year.
Wow.
And that is incredible. And that's something that not very many people can say. And, the question that you asked me in the 62nd round there, what if you could only grow one fruit, what would it be?
Yeah.
And I always say bare seedless lime, because if I had a lime every day, I would use a lime every single day. I just love the flavor. Right. You can squeeze them in water. You can use them in marinades. You can sprinkle them on fish. You can use a lime anywhere you want in culinary use. I can put it on a salad. I can put it on a cheesecake. It'll go anywhere you want it to go. So that's
a little bit of key lime pie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been my choice, if I could only grow one bare seedless lime. But that doesn't mean that it's the only one I like this week. I mean, there's some great varieties out there this week. I'll share one with you. I've got I've just picked this one a little while ago and I cut it.
Those are my favorite. Great.
This is a triploid hybrid called Valentine. And Valentine is a hybrid of pomelo, blood orange, and mandarin.
Wow.
You see Riverside hybrid, and this is absolutely delicious. It's a fruit that
sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So here's my favorite this week, Valentine.
Wow.
This week.
Yeah, I think that would be my favorite always. I mean, I'm a big grapefruit fan, so that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, but it's completely different than a grapefruit. It does, it doesn't have a grapefruit flavor. It has just a great complex flavor of all three of its parents.
Interesting. I love that. What about yourself, Charles? What got you into your world, your gardening world?
I mean, gardening's always been a passion of mine. I can remember at age 5, 6, 7, whatever my mom would plant in the garden, I would rearrange as I saw better. And I remember messing up a lot of her gardens for many years until I perfected what I learned and eventually, passed on to, basically educating my family. But it basically started at a very early age. I learned from my mom. I learned from my mom's dad, my grandfather, that would spend an average of like 6 to 8 hours a day. For me, that's like the dream path, is to get there as soon as possible, where I could spend 8 hours a day in the backyard and just continuously, work the garden and maximize the value and the use, to make sure that every single day we're maximizing productivity of organic, healthy, delicious nutrition that we're bringing in the family, and sharing obviously the surplus with our community and neighbors as well. But that was basically, from the young age all the way through my college years. I was pre-med, published in national journals of surgery and medicine and so forth, thinking I was going to be on the pre-med path. And most of my courses even then were in botany. And the reason I was thinking medicine is because I always then and now know is that plants are medicine, and the majority of pharmaceutical drugs are learned and derived from plant sources. So that was basically what launched me and carried me forward. And so again, the education that I had from a very young age, in addition to the education I got in college, and then I basically ended up, instead of doing medicine, practicing law, and ended up having a career in law in Florida for almost 10 years before returning back home about 12 to 15 years ago. And basically, the merger of those two is what Ivory Organics is. I patented a product that is about as long lasting as paint, offers a healthier alternative than putting paint on your trees to curb weather extremes. And the idea is that if you're putting paint, latex, tar based products on your plants, as they grow, these products are designed to last 100 years or more. Like when you paint your house, that paint will be on there. You come back 100 years later and there's still going to be paint on your house. But you put it on your plants within a year or two, it's going to be in your garden soil indefinitely and contributing to runoff that's going to end up in lakes, rivers, streams, and the one ocean that we all share. And it was that philosophy that there's got to be a better way that has led us into creating the 3-in-1 plant guard, starting with color white. We've gone into other colors, other products, fertilizers, and our reach continues to grow year after year in the sense of our three pillars for a company as being innovative, organic, effective, and USA made. So those are the pillars that have grown us, and I'm proud to share that as of within a few years, and our first YouTube video we launched over 10 years ago, but within a few years we grew to become America's leading garden product YouTube channel. We now have over 200,000 followers. We educate about 5 to 20,000 people a day. And we're looking to continuously inspire and help and grow just the same way that my mom, my grandfather, Tom Spellman, about a dozen, maybe 2 dozen other experts I rely on throughout the year and collaborate with and learn from. They continuously inspire me, just as I know Enoch and now you, Natalie, with all these guests that you have on your show that are all like the best at what they do. Just as we learned about onions earlier in the show, I'm like, I had no idea you can talk, almost 20 minutes about how to grow an onion. But it
Oh
was a
yeah,
very thorough,
we could
detailed.
talk 2 hours about that.
Yeah. So, but there's so many experts around the globe, and you guys have done an excellent job of tapping into those sources and sharing them here on this platform. And I appreciate you guys for that. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank
right
you.
on, you guys.
Thank you both for
So
what you both have done for the community. I mean,
yeah,
Tom, you're an inspiration, and Charles, you've created a product that sounds wonderful for so many growers out there to be able to combat different issues. So,
yeah. So yeah, right on. Again, we got a great audience with us tonight as well too. Thank you all, everybody, for jumping into the conversation with us tonight. Thanks for all of these just amazing questions. We do got some questions we got to start rolling through here. Again, I mean, won't get to any of my questions because we got so many awesome questions coming from everybody else here. But real quick, Charles, Serena was in earlier saying, can you use 3-in-1 plant guard for squash bugs or squash vine borers? It's got to be the most top question for any pest out there is those squash vine borers.
So the answer is yes, it can be used and it has been used. The product, so the Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard, the product comes with a base powder and the oils, and you have the option to basically add a little bit of water and use it as a tree paste. If you fill up the can with water, you're going to have a brush-on solution, and you can also dilute this to make up to 5 gallons of a ready-to-use spray. So you can use it as at the spray level. Ivory Organics, and this was actually one of the questions I was thinking about asking your audience, but I have one actually for your audience to participate in our giveaway, because I'd like to do a giveaway of the 3-in-1 Plant Guard with
wonderful.
your audience. And
we were teasing that earlier. Yep.
But I'm gonna probably after I answer this question, hopefully drop my question to your audience to work on. And the answer is yes with the squash bugs. I would use it as a brush on. If the goal is to protect the stem, you're basically going to add, again, water to the top of this can. Again, if it's only for squash and it's limited plants or limited trees, I would only mix what you intend to use. So if you're only going to use a quarter of this can, I recommend using a quarter of the powder, a quarter of the oil, and fill it up a quarter of the way, and you'll have a good solution for brushing on the stem, and what you're doing is you're guarding the beetles, and some of them may even have larvae within the stems. And what
Mhm.
you're doing is you're brushing onto it, not just limestone and mica, which is like a clay, but also has diatomaceous earth in the base ingredients. Diatomaceous earth on anything with an exoskeleton, such as beetles, is like putting fine glass on their joints, and it basically scratches them up and causes them to desiccate, dry out over the course of a few days. So
Yeah.
you're basically, it's
Cool.
the safest, most gentle way of controlling beetles and pests on your plant. You can also spray it on your fruit trees that you've newly planted. So if you planted a citrus tree or a plum tree, or again, your tomatoes, pepper, squash, or basil, or anything else, you can spray it or make
Yeah.
your own solution from the can. And you'll have a product that's not just curbing weather extremes, also serves as an anti-transparent and keeps pests off your plants. The list continues. The products work for
Yeah.
all plants, by the way. With that, I'm going to just quickly drop my question for the freebie on the 3-in-1 plant guard. And you can choice of color, white, brown, green, gray, or grayish. My question is, when is the number one time of the year, if you can just do it by season, most important season to be whitewashing your plants? Most people don't get this right. That's why I'm asking the question. Most important season between winter, spring, summer, and fall. Most important season that commercial growers across the United States whitewash their trees. If I can get the answer, and we'll see who the winner is
The
going to be.
first right answer will win some
Giveaway.
3-in-1 plant guard. How
I
about
got a
that?
one in
That's what we
one
do.
in four shot at getting it right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep
Thank
an
you
eye.
so much for doing that.
So yeah,
You're
what is the best season or the number one season
Number one
that
season, yeah,
that
that commercial
fruit?
growers whitewash their fruit trees in the United States.
Yeah. Is it spring, fall? Is it winter? Is it summer? Which one is it? All right. So Tom, real quick here. Kelpie Capers Farm asks, I'm new to growing Asian pears. My tree is 3 years old and is getting blooms on it. Should I pinch the blooms off so that it can concentrate on growing, or should I just let it go?
Well, you've got to consider at 3 years old, that tree's a teenager.
Mm.
So you don't necessarily want your teenager to be too precocious. I would recommend probably removing most of the flowers this year, depending on what fruit actually sets. You know, when you see that there's pea-sized fruit on it, you can go in and just remove that fruit. But nobody is ever going to remove 100% of the fruit on a young tree. As much as I recommend it, as much as it's preached, you know, to fruit growers to do that,
Yeah.
you're going to leave 2 or 3 or 4 on there. So, you know, people are just going to do that. They want to taste something. They want a reward for you know, the investment that they're making. And I don't blame them. I think that's important. So leave a handful on there, but take the rest off. You're allowing the tree to put out a nice canopy, put out a nice scaffolding structure. You're gonna create, in the first 2 or 3 or 4 years in the ground, you're going to create the structure that tree's going to need to produce fruit for the next 20 or 30 years. So
Awesome.
I can buy a handful of Asian pears really cheap, but I can't ever gain back that momentum that I'm going to lose by allowing that tree to overproduce as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about
Good
the
advice.
foundation, I guess, just like with any other plant as well, right?
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
you want to build that scaffold and that structure and make that tree as productive as possible going forward. But you know, you don't need 25 pears in the 3rd year.
Right. Makes sense.
Mhm. Excellent. Yeah, we got some more questions coming in from everybody here. Let's pick out another question from, let's see here. Wickershire was asking, when planting a fruit tree, is it ideal to use only the native soil as to not build a pit of fresh nutrients in the basin? Will this reduce root growth in any way? Go native soil or not?
So I am a big advocate of planting in your native soil. That's where the tree is going to need to survive and thrive going forward. I am also a huge advocate of mulching on the surface. So I think that
Okay.
organic material is much better served on the surface as a mulch than it is being mixed into the backfill soil. That of course, is saying you have decent backfill soil to use, and if not, you probably, if it's too heavy, it doesn't drain well. You probably want to grow in some sort of a raised bed or a mounded planting, so you can get that initial top root zone up above the native soil, so it can oxygenate better. You never want to plant in a bowl. You never want to plant something too deep. If you're using too much organic material in there, especially something that's a soft wood, then you're going to get a lot of decomposition in that first year, and you could get sinking of that root ball. So plant on a rise, make sure you have good drainage. You want that surface root to be able to oxygenate. Use your organic material on the surface. And that's just my opinion. There are people who would disagree with me on that. And if
Right.
it works for them, then that's fine. I'm not going to tell them that they're doing something wrong if it works for them.
That's right. That's right. Excellent. Okay. Boy, like I said, I hope we can get to all these questions, I guess, here. Let's, Doyle asking, would love to hear, Tom, get some info on the A and the B flower trees. I was told years ago to have both, so they pollinate better every 2 years.
Well,
So is there an A and B? How does this work when it comes to these?
That's a category that is within avocados. So there's A and B flower types. So
Okay.
the difference between an A and a B flower is one will open in the afternoon and close in the afternoon and open again as the next flower type the next morning, and the other will do the opposite. So if you have problems with cross-pollination, especially in a coastal zone for avocados, where you don't have much of a variance between day and night temperatures, maybe it's 50 at night and 60 in the day. So you don't get a lot of variance in time in when the A and the B type flowers open. So if you have both A's and B's, you're going to get a good cross-pollination. Now, if you're in an area where there's more of a variance, more inland, where you have more of a variance in day and night temperatures, say 50 at night and 75 or 80 during the day, you're going to get a lot more crossover between the two flower types, and it's not as important. So it certainly, if I'm putting in several avocado trees, I'm going to make sure I have both an A and a B in my collection, and I do. And I think that definitely makes a difference. But it has a lot more to do with how the day and night temperatures react to the tree. So all avocados are essentially self-fertile, but if you have both A and B flower types, you will get better production in certain areas.
Yeah.
So you say collection. What trees are amongst your collection? Are there too many to list, or are you able to list them for us?
Well, I have about right now probably about 60 different fruit trees in my personal collection.
Oh, nice.
And that includes 7 different avocados.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Are there any other fruit trees that have the A and B pollinating?
I've never heard any other fruit trees described as A and B flower types.
What is more that
alternate flowering types in other trees?
So what is more the like I've been told, like I've got a pear tree out there and I'm like, well, it's not pollinating very well, or I'm not getting very much. And then I get advice, we'll get another pear tree. Tell us a little bit about that. Is there?
Well, that's just pollen from alternate varieties. So you don't have too much of one type of pollen. A lot of varieties are what they call self-sterile. And you would need pollen of another variety in order for that tree to produce. Some pears, some apples, cherries, are varieties that kind of fall into that category. So in those situations, you don't have an A and a B type. You just have different types of pollen that are going to be able to react together. So the bee is going to transmit it back and forth from one tree to another. Most fruit trees today, citrus varieties, peaches, plum, nectarines, things like that are what we would call a perfect flower, and they have all of the parts that would open together, and you'll get good cross pollination, even if you only have one variety.
Right on. All right. LG asks, I have peach tree curling. I have tried copper and sulfur in the root. What else should I do to save the peach trees?
So copper and sulfur in the root, I'm not sure what they really mean by that. Copper and sulfur sprays for peach leaf curl control should be sprayed directly onto the foliage. I don't think they're going to do any good in the root system. So I'm not quite sure how to go with that. And if you want to stay organic, a lot of people, I've had great success using kelp extracts for post dormancy peach leaf curl control. So what you're doing is you're not necessarily curing the peach leaf curl yourself. You're foliar fertilizing the tree, and you're allowing the tree to grow out of that issue before it really becomes severe. And it varies from year to year. Quite frankly, in Southern California this year, peach leaf curl is screaming and running away from Southern California faster than you can believe, because we really had almost a perfect winter as far as warmer temperatures. We had 80 degrees in January. We had 100 degrees in March.
Yeah.
So there's virtually no peach leaf curl in Southern California this year, except in areas that maybe get a little more coastal influence. But I would certainly recommend that they go with an alternate sprays. You don't want to use the same thing all the time. Copper sprays and lime and sulfur sprays are meant to use more as dormant sprays, but they can also be used at a much less of a final volume dilution as a post-dormant spray, while the foliage is out. But I would always recommend that they alternate and catch it early. If the damage is too severe, you're not going to correct any of that damage. All you're going to stop it from moving forward. But if you did copper and
little connection.
Excellent.
Oh, I think we got a little freeze there going on. That's all right. We're all having fun with our connections tonight. How about that, right?
One of those
That's
days.
great. Can you guys hear me as well? Still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So one thing I'll also add on to the last thing in regards to pollination, the ABs, the pair, in regards to having a second pollinator, and this applies to most fruit, even with perfect flowers and self-fruitful, is that cross-pollination between different varieties of fruits will typically result in fruit being larger, tastier, and I'm trying to think about a third one, but the whole overall quality of the fruit will get better through cross-pollination, and that's another way to also consider is having that diversity. As Tom mentioned, with all the fruit trees in his backyard and 7 avocados, the goal is that you're also having, and I know Tom typically discusses this, is successive ripening, and the goal is to have diversity, cross-pollination, and the fact that different varieties of fruits, such as peaches, let's say, you can actually harvest in different months, starting in May and then again in June, another one in July, by just planting different varieties that ripen at different times of the year, cross-pollinate each other, at the early part of the season, but then offer you deliciousness much better than if you only had one variety on your property, through the benefits of what cross-pollination can do for you. And then leading back to the avocados, and Tom already said this, avocados are self-fruitful. One avocado tree is all you need. But having the A and the B varieties, most research, and you can Google this, will support the fact that you'll increase harvest by between as little as 5% to up to 20%. So you're going to end up with heavier harvest, larger, tastier quality fruits by having 2 or more varieties. Again, different varieties, not the same Hass avocado, for example, but by having a Hass and a Fuerte, among others, will accomplish cross-pollination that will result in better fruit set and quality. So These are all important considerations when growing pretty much everything, including your peppers, tomatoes, and so forth, is the value and the benefits of cross-pollination.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to note that from a commercial grower's perspective, nothing is self-fruitful. Commercial growers very, very seldom grow a single variety. Commercial growers, if they're a plum grower or a cherry grower or a apricot grower, they're always going to incorporate at least a very small percentage of cross pollinators into their commercial orchard because they want maximum production. And you know, a 20% increase in a crop for a farmer could mean the difference between no profit and a huge profit. And we, as backyard growers, we should always be looking at the same thing. I get the question all the time. Well, I only want to plant one plum. What's the one plum that I should plant? And I say, get a multiple budded tree. Get a plum that has 3 or 4 varieties on the tree. You have one tree, but you've got 3 or 4 types of fruit. You've got your cross pollinators built in, and you've got successive ripening. So instead of harvesting 2 weeks worth of plums, now you can harvest a month or 6 or 8 or 10 weeks worth of plums off of one tree.
Yeah, that's great. And to that point, I was going to add, that leads me to my next question. For anybody that's new into getting started of growing fruit trees, do you have any tips for a beginner, any considerations, or where to start when you're looking to getting into growing your own fruit trees?
Well, do your homework. You know, there's a lot of considerations. You know, what do you like to eat? What do you want to grow? And often people will just jump into this and plant some. You know, you could go to a retail nursery today and buy 10 different fruit trees, and chances are, if you're buying 10 different deciduous fruit trees, that most of your production is going to be in July. Well, how many fruit varieties do you want in July? I want May, I want June, I want August, September. So I want to make sure I'm incorporating that successive ripening. So you do your homework up front so that you know when you're going to get your production. Plant, you know, like varieties together that are going to give you alternate production, whether it's a multiple budded tree or a multiple planted combination. You can put 3 trees together in one combination and get that successive ripening out of it, get that cross pollination benefit out of it. But understand what you're planting. I'll tell you a funny story that happened to me about 20 years ago. I get this phone call, and it's about the first week in October. And the guy just says to me, doesn't even introduce himself or anything, just says, "What do you do with quince?" And I said, "Well, you know, when I was a kid, I used to throw them at cats on my grandmother's back fence." And he said, "Well, you know, my wife's a cat lover. I don't want to do that, but let me explain my situation. I went down to the Kmart, and it was the end of their bare root season, and they had these little trees in the bags with the sawdust, and they were all on sale for $5. And I said, well, geez, that's incredible. You can't grow a tree for $5. You know, that's what a great deal." He said, "Yeah, but all they had left were quince, so I bought 5 of them." So you got this minimal financial investment of $25, but now 5 years worth of your ground space, 5 years worth of irrigation, 5 years worth of fertilization, worth of pruning, and you've grown this crop of quince that you have no idea what to do with it. He said, "Yeah, I went out and picked the biggest, brightest yellow one the other day, and I took a bite out of it and I threw it on the ground. It was horrible." And I said, "Well, quince is not the kind of fruit that you can eat out of hand. Quince is a processing fruit. You know, my grandmother used to make these wonderful quince jams and quince tarts, and I'll always have these wonderful memories of them, but it's not a tree that I have in my collection today because I just like to eat fresh fruit as well. So it's not something where I want to go through the trouble of processing it. So don't plant 5 quince trees if you don't understand what to do with quince. Make sure you're getting varieties that you understand. I know I like Red Baron peach. You know, I know I like Burgundy plum. I like Jiro Fuyu persimmons. So I'm going to plant things that I like to eat that are going to give me fruit all throughout the season.
Yeah. Right on. Real quick here before we get too far away from it, though, too, we got to get back to our question that Charles threw out there for the audience. We had a giveaway. Yeah. So, Charles, what was the answer to when is the what season do commercial fruit tree growers whitewash their trees?
Excellent. So I'm assuming you got all 4 seasons. Your audience has answered. I haven't been able to look at the chat and the questions streaming through, but
I'm
the
looking.
answer is fall. And the
Fall.
reason is
Okay, let's see. Let me
commercially,
go back and
most
take a look
growers are
here.
protecting their plants from winter sun scald. Even though Ivory Organics, and again, we've got With the Oils, which is our yellow label, and then we've got the blue label, which is oil free. It's just basically curbing the harshness of summer sunburn and protecting your plants from winter sun scald. So you got the blue and the yellow label. So the giveaway is going to be this one, which is our prize product. And With the Oils, whitewashing in the fall to protect your plants from winter sun scald. Most commercial growers lose more plants due to winter sun scald, which is when you've got daytime temperatures that are warm while the ground could still be frozen, and or freezing nights that end up basically drying out your plants. And that what whitewashing will do is help the plants better retain moisture through those winter sun scald days, weeks, and months, so that they come popping with flowers and growth come spring. And again, for unprotected plants, a lot of farmers lose a lot of plants by not whitewashing in fall. From my now over 10 years experience with Ivory Organics, our best-selling months are March, April, and May. As the second, I would say, most important time for whitewashing your plants is the day you plant your trees. You plant your trees and you whitewash it to now protect and guard it from the summer heat, especially your most sensitive plants such as avocados and citrus. But it really applies to everything from peaches, plums, apricots, roses, you name it. We're basically, we've got our beautiful spring weather, 70s and 80s, but all of us are going to be dealing with 90, 95, 100, 105, and plus, depending on where you live, in just a few short months. And that's a lot of stress on a plant. And what whitewashing will do organically with Ivory Organics is protect your plants. So hopefully there's someone in your audience that got that question right.
Yeah. The first one I can see that pops up is from Wickershire. So that's the first fall answer that I see that popped up there.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
what we can do then is just send me an email at theurbangardener@mail.com. Send me your shipping information, and I'll pass that along to Charles there, and he can send you off some of that 3-in-1 plant guard that you can try out there for yourself.
Congratulations.
You know,
do one more real quick?
You want to do one
more comment on that?
Okay.
Yes, fall is absolutely the season when the commercial growers would be whitewashing when they're doing their fall pruning and their cleanup. They're going to get that tree ready, for the stresses of winter. But that's for established trees. That's for trees that have been in the ground for a year, 2 years, 20 years. What you have to consider as a new gardener, the day you plant a tree into your landscape is the day you want to whitewash that tree.
Right.
Because you look at trees that are grown in a wholesale nursery setting, and they're can tied, or they're inches apart in a field row, and every tree that is next to another tree is shading that tree. So all those neighbors are happily giving each other cover and shade and protection. And then you pick up that tree from a retail nursery and you take that tree home and you set it out into the middle of your landscape. And now it's out there on its own with no partners around it to shade it or protect it. And that sun, if it's a warm day, that sun can damage that tree within hours of planting. So when you're planting a tree into your landscape, you get it in the ground, you get it irrigated in, you make sure the staking is firm, you do any little pinching that you need to do to get it growing in the right direction, and you get whitewash on it that same day. And I've been using Charles' products for many, many years, probably since he first originated the project. I know it's been 10 years or better that we've been corresponding and working together, and it is a solid product. I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Tom.
Right on. Yeah. So you got one more you want to do real quick?
Yeah, let's do one more. But I quickly just want to say, for those of you guys watching, to remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already to the Let's Get Growing Live channel, and we're here with Natalie as well, the Fresh Princess, and I saw your link in the video description as well. Be sure to obviously hit her link and follow her, as well as Tom Spellman. He's got a YouTube channel where the last publication just went up a few days ago, and he was demonstrating pruning on established pomegranate trees in addition to newly planted persimmon trees, and the difference between pruning for basically manageability and being able to reach the fruit versus trying to grow your trees for height and shade. And he basically goes into those tips and advice. So Tom Spellman, be sure to reach out to his YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and hit that push bell notification. And obviously Ivory Organics, we're always looking to grow our audience and, you know, and hopefully be a part of your growing family. And then you'll also find also in the video description is the Grow 10 promo code for 10% off of all of the Ivory Organic store when you're shopping there. So be sure to check that out. And then something you guys asked me during the questions is pet peeve type question. And the pet peeve that I had as Ivory Organics was growing in the first 3, 4, 5 years, and we're working with two of the biggest distributors in the country. And I said, we now want to go into the fertilizer business. And I still remember one of the distributors saying, it's a dog eat dog world. Why would you want to do fertilizer? There's so many companies doing it. And the reason is because the education is surrounded by plants only have 3 macronutrients, and that's false. And you can all Google it. But not until I asked this question is how many plant macronutrients are there? And we're talking about primary, secondary, and if you can list all of those macronutrients that plants need. Whoever does that first gets to win a bag of our Super Blend fertilizers that offer your plants all, I'm trying not to say the number, all of the plant macronutrients, primary and secondary, in addition to, we learned from the onion lesson about the importance of azomite. This product also has plus azomite to offer your plants a lot of the micronutrition as well. So to the winner, a complimentary bag of the Ivory Organics all-purpose fertilizer. So hopefully you get you guys off to an excellent growing season.
Nice. That is awesome.
So all 6 macronutrients. Can
you said the
everybody-
number, but now we'll just wait for now. Did somebody say that, or is that you?
Oh no!
I was careful not to say the number, but now you know it's 6. And now let's see.
I
who
totally
can list.
blew it.
But let's see who can list.
Look at me. It's
Enoch wins the bag. Enoch just wants the bag.
No, okay, well, can you list?
Enix's our
Can
winner.
you name them? Can you name them?
So to the first one to name all 6 properly. Let's see.
Leave it up to me. Leave it up to me for sure.
That was hard for me to not say 6, but you then did it. I'm like, I thought you parroted something I said.
Oh my. Oh well. Anyways, there you go. Y'all got that one. But can you name all 6 macronutrients?
Correct.
Wrong, bow tie. Bow tie says 7 macronutrients.
Oh yeah, that's right. Anyways, I was going to say back during our lightning round, Tom had a very interesting answer to one of the questions that Natalie asked. What was it? The one tool you didn't think you needed, but now you can't live without. Tom, you answered iPhone. Tell us a little bit more about why is the iPhone a big tool for you in the garden?
Well, you know, I'd rather have my Felco 2s out in the orchard pruning trees, but
Right.
I find that I can't make a whole lot of money out there pruning trees with my Felco 2s, and you know, the main reason, as much as I love this business and would probably volunteer and do this for free if I didn't, you know, continue working, but at this point, I'm still in it to try and make a living, and that iPhone has absolutely become the most important communication tool that I've ever encountered. And, you know, that gives me instant communication with emails, with texts, with phone calls, with important people. I can answer questions in a matter of seconds that people have. So it's, and to be honest with you, Enoch, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. I really have thought about it many times over the last few years, and it just happens to be that's what has been my most important working tool over at least the past 15 years.
Yeah. I know I use my iPhone in the garden all the time too. It's one of my primary video capture systems.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My best camera I've got. So I'm
Yeah.
always shooting my
I had two
It's
people
definitely one of
today.
my most used for sure.
I had two people today that sent me photos of issues that they were having and said, what do you think of this? Can you tell me what this is? And I had answers to both of them within a minute. So,
Yeah.
how much more efficient does it get than that?
Yeah, for sure. Do you
Right
keep
on.
a gardening journal or anything on your phone, or do you use any apps to try to organize anything that's going on with your plants that you document?
Natalie, I'm kind of a dinosaur. I really went down into this kicking and screaming. I didn't want this to be an important part of my life, but at this point, I have to admit that it is. But I try and get away from my devices every day as quick as I can in the afternoon and go outside and work in my landscape. And I don't like to keep my iPhone or my iPad or anything with me when I go out and do that. I want to concentrate on what's going on around me in my landscape, and I think
Right.
that any interruptions like that are just going to make that more difficult. So at the end of the day, I set those down, put the charge on, and grab my Felcos and head out into the landscape and do my chores. And that to me has been very, very important. Living in Southern California and having to go out and rough it up on the freeways with all these other wonderful drivers that are here in Southern California, where it might take me an hour and a half to go 20 or 25 miles on any given day. To get home, put on my hat, put on an old pair of boots, get my clippers, head out into the landscape. Pick. Today I picked some loquats. I picked some mandarins. I picked some avocados. Here's
Wow.
Pinkerton. Here's gem. So
That
just
is
to be able
amazing.
to do that, to walk out and grab a few things out of the garden, get some things for a salad for dinner. I picked some Eugenia uniflora, patangas, Suriname cherry. So
Cherries.
these are all things that I can just pick today, and every single day I can go out and do that. My landscape is my salad bar. It's
Love that.
also a major contributor to my mental health. I can go out in the landscape, I can get some fresh air, I can get some sunshine, I can get some fresh food that's grown organically, where I know everything that's been used on that food. But I can also relieve my head. I can get the pressure out. When my blood pressure is pumping and I can feel that little vein in my forehead throbbing. 15 minutes of being outside, that's all gone.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's all just about what's happening around me with my trees. I can look at my trees. If there's an issue, I can see it and I can address it. So, anybody that doesn't think that landscaping, any kind of landscaping, being out in a natural environment, in an environment that you've created for yourself and your family, anybody that doesn't think that that's mental health, you better give that a second thought.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So if you had to document any issues or any experiences you're having with your plants, I guess you're using pen and paper. Do you have a notepad or a a designated journal for your fruit trees? Or
I always have a good sized wall calendar, and I'm always documenting things on my wall calendar. So, and then every year I throw that calendar into the file cabinet, and I can go back and look at how much it rained. I can go back and look at when the Santa Ana winds blew. I can go back and look at when I had a good crop or a bad crop, or why I think I had a bad crop. Hey, had a hailstorm. What it knocked most of the flowers off my red Baron peach. So I had a light crop this year. So I think, being able to document that is extremely important, and understanding why things happen and when they happen, so that you can go back and use that again. But
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want electronics to do that for me at this point. And maybe
I
that's just because I am a dinosaur.
Nope, I'm right there with you. I'm still using a notepad in my garden, and people are telling me just to use an app on my phone. And I just like being able to pick up the paper and jotting down the notes when I need to.
Absolutely.
It's much
Yeah.
easier.
I totally
Yeah.
agree.
All right, Charles. What are the 6 macronutrients?
So for pet peeve, when you asked during the lightning round, the fact that people, and there's so many YouTube videos out there that just say plants have 3 macronutrients, and they keep saying NPK, and plants only need NPK.
Right.
I found extremely frustrating, because if you spend a minute looking into what plants need, you'll quickly find that NPK are your primary nutrients, but there's secondary nutrients that plants need in abundance also in the soil, which so your NPK are basically the initials for the elements off the periodic table. N standing for nitrogen, P for your phosphorus, and K for potassium. And they contribute towards growth and flower and fruiting and disease resistant root development. The other 3 are magnesium, which is the heart of the chlorophyll molecule, and sulfur, which is important for enzymatic processes in addition to the greening of the plant. And the number 6 is calcium. And calcium accounts for about 1/3 of the dry weight of a plant, and is contributes a lot towards the development of the plant's cell walls. So you can imagine any shortage of these 6 plant macronutrients is going to affect the overall health and plant performance. Calcium also, a lot of growers, especially vegetable growers, know that calcium is important for tomato plants to prevent the phenomenon known as tomato blossom end rot. And I know sometimes I get those words reversed. And it's basically where the bottoms of the tomatoes were turned black, basically where that was once upon a time flour. And calcium deficiency usually contributes towards that disease. And what a lot of growers will do is add eggshells or crushed, eggshells or bones or something to help offset that calcium deficiency. But I'm proud to share that this product has it all, and it's not just tomatoes that need calcium. All plants need calcium, and hopefully we've got a winner that was able to identify all 6 plant macronutrients.
Yes, we do have the first winner, or the first one that popped up there in the comments was from Robin Gardens.
Cool.
But we did have a few good
Yes.
good answers though. A lot of people got that right, so that's great.
So again, all 6 plant macronutrients, in addition to the super blend, has plus azomite. So it has crushed volcanic rock to offer your plants a lot of the micronutrient nutrition as well. So it's got it all, and we're proud to offer a single product that delivers all of the macronutrient and some micronutrient nutrition in a single product.
Yeah.
Congratulations to tonight's winners, and thank you so much, Charles, for doing that.
Oh, this was fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And real quick, well, Robin, you know how to get a hold of me for sure. But again, I'll just put this up though, the Wickershire, and I'll send me mailing information at theurbangardener@mail.com, and I'll pass that on to Charles, and he'll send you out those really awesome Ivy Organic products. And for everybody else, go check out Ivy Organics over at ivyorganics.com. Go and get some of this really great whitewash, and just it's so multi-purpose, more than just a whitewash and all of that. 3-in-1 plant guard. And then again, use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, get 10% off. Yes, definitely. Right on. Excellent. Let's see here. I know we got some more questions and all of that too that are in our comments here. I got so many things I got to go through here to get
I
to
just
where
want to
they
quickly
are.
add, while you look
We had
for
a
that
couple
last
of questions.
question, in regards to Tom's journal. If you go to Tom's YouTube channel, Tom Spellman, and again, that video link is down below, you'll see Tom Spellman from a meeting with Kevin Espiritu, the epic gardener, the largest gardening YouTube channel on the planet. In addition to his work at the Lyle Center and at Cal Poly Pomona, and you'll see before and afters with his efforts over the last over a year now. And you'll see the planting projects and then follow up with pruning, fertilizing, whitewashing, and so forth. So a lot of lessons that you'll find there. And I would say, aside from journaling, another way for us YouTubers that we document our experiences is by basically putting it on our channel. And that's something I do, and I know Tom does as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see here. Let's get another question in real quick here. Shady's asking, what dwarf fruit varieties would you recommend for someone starting out who wants something easy and reliable?
Well,
What do you think, Tom?
I always have to go back to that dwarf thing.
Yeah.
There are certainly some dwarfing rootstocks out there, and there's some varieties that are genetically dwarfed, like some peaches and nectarines that are, briquetic dwarfs that are going to stay relatively small. But here's my advice: don't worry about dwarf. You can grow any fruit tree in a container, whether it's a dwarf or a standard. You can grow any fruit tree in the ground, whether it's a dwarf or a standard. Use the rootstocks as the motor for the tree. They're the lifeblood of the tree. They're going to move the carbohydrates and the nutrients up through the system. And sometimes the dwarfing rootstocks are very, very weak at really pushing those trees to a point where they're going to thrive. Don't worry about whether a rootstock is dwarf or semi-dwarf or standard. Worry more about whether that rootstock is going to be adaptable to your soil conditions, whether that rootstock is going to be adaptable to your weather. And as long as you have a variety and a rootstock that's adaptable to your geography and your weather, you're going to be successful. And then you're the one that's going to choose the size of your trees ultimately. So if I want a tree to be 5 feet, I'm going to keep it at 5 feet. If I want it to be 10 feet or 12 feet, I'm going to let it get that big. But you need to be responsible and accept that size control challenge forward, because trees are going to become as big as you let it get. So I never, any circumstance, rootstock the size of the tree. Because even semi-dwarf stocks, for the most part, are going to be too to keep that tree that could get.
I'm going to just jump in real quick. Tom, your connection's breaking up a little bit, but I'm just going to add one thing about dwarf, and then maybe, Tom, you can conclude in regards to dwarfing. But personally, my favorite dwarf fruit tree that I've experienced, and it's going to be in the citrus family, but I know you can grow citrus anywhere in the country if you grow it in container and protect it from the harshness of winter, depending on where you are in the country. But the Meyer lemon, and you'll notice on Ivory Organics, if you go to the Ivory Organics YouTube channel, you put in Ivory Organics with Meyer lemon, you'll notice that I've grown on standard rootstock. I was able to keep my Meyer lemons at about 5 feet tall. On standard rootstock, it said that the tree would grow between 15 to 25 feet tall if I left it unchecked. But I've kept it in, I would say, close to 10 years at about 5 feet height. And again, if you had semi-dwarf, it'd be even easier to compress and compact it, or if you grew it in container. This was in ground at 5 feet, and I was harvesting about 50 to 80 pounds of lemons per tree per year consistently. So, and the reason I want to say the Meyer lemon is so special because I feel like it blooms over more months, and it just is such a compact grower compared to Eurekas or oranges or other type citrus that wants to grow long and leggy. The Meyer lemon is a naturally compact type growing citrus tree, and I would highly recommend those interested in growing a semi-sweet, sour, it's kind of in between the two. Some say it's a cross with a mandarin orange and lemon. But the Meyer lemon is just such a beautiful addition in the backyard or home garden, in the sense of flower, fragrance, fruit, and just easy to control and manage. So that would be like my number one if I could recommend it. One other thing I want to say, just going back to my lightning round, is lemons, being that my wife cooks Mediterranean foods, Tom mentioned he can use a lime every day. We use between 1 and 3 lemons every day. So we don't have salad dressing ever in our refrigerator. We rely on lemons to make salad dressings in addition to all the other things that lemons are used for. So lemons are highly used in the family. And I feel like I've got about 8 to 10 months of coverage of just lemons available to my family, and any surplus goes to neighbors and beyond. So
That's
with the
amazing.
lemon tree. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, Tom, your connection was kind of getting choppy while you were in the middle of answering the question. We apologize.
No, no worries. Is it better now?
Yeah, much
Yeah.
better. We can hear you
Okay.
loud and clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just talking about the any recommendations for dwarf varieties was one of the
Sure. So,
questions.
and I think Charles' recommendation on Meyer
Yeah.
lemon is excellent. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of dwarf type citrus that you can use, especially in containers. You know, kumquats, mandarins, all of those things will do wonderful. But don't let that word dwarf be your stumbling block. Grow
Right.
what you like.
Yeah.
Get a stock that's adaptable to your climate and your soil type. Keep that tree pruned to any size that you want. Grow the varieties that you like. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Tip. Yeah.
Exactly. Right on, right on. Well, look at that, where the time has flown right on by here.
Yeah.
And again, just a really great conversation. And Natalie, it's just like when we get these guys like Tom, or we had Craig LaHoulier on talking about tomatoes, we get these experts in their field, and the questions go crazy.
I
And
know.
so I wish we could have got to everybody's questions and everything as well tonight. But thank you all, everybody, for joining with us tonight and bringing such an awesome questions to our conversation and
Yeah.
all of that. And again, thank you guys for being here too. I mean,
know.
just how amazing to have you guys here with us.
Thank you for
especially
taking the time and for the giveaway, Charles. That was awesome. And thank you, Tom, for
Yes.
sharing your knowledge and some of your stories and your background. We appreciate both of your time. Where can people find more about you, or where can people find you?
well, my YouTube channel is Growing with Tom Spellman, and we're working on some incredible projects and incredible videos that'll be coming up in the next few months. So keep that in mind, and give me a thumbs up and let me know that you like the
Absolutely.
videos.
That's right. That's right. And that's why I like you got your retirement from the, from all of that other stuff. Now you can focus on doing some cool educational videos and some things that you can offer through your channel over there. Again, we got links down below for everybody. And like Tom says, I want to see all of you go over there to Tom's place. Go check out his most recent video. Leave him a comment. Let him know you saw him here on the Green Room with Natalie and I. And Charles, real quick, tell us one more time about Ivy Organics. And
Yeah, so social
where
media,
everybody can find you guys.
YouTube, obviously, in addition to Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and you name it, Pinterest. We're on pretty much every platform, whatever you use most. For me, if you want to have a dialogue, I'm most often on Instagram. So if you want to talk to me or reach out to me there, would be the easiest way to, carry a conversation and get connected. So looking forward to hopefully, connecting with you all and just making every year, like I'm so excited being we're at the beginning of the 2026 gardening year and carrying all the experiences that we learned in years past to make this one our best growing season. So I'm excited to hopefully be a part of that education and that journey for all of those watching and learning from us today.
Thank you both so much. And thank you for your time and thank you for sharing. You guys are both great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely, Tom. It was great to have you on the show again. And again, always thankful to have you, Charles, with us every single weekend. As I said before, we get to see you every weekend on our breaks and all of that and sponsoring our show. Thank you for that as well. We'll be right back. Just one moment. Finish this all up here. Be right back. Hey, gardeners. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits. All right. Again, what another great green room show again here this Monday evening. How
Always a
about
good
that, huh?
show. And what an honor to talk to such an expert and such a seasoned, no pun intended, fruit tree grower. So
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
exciting. And to get to talk to Charles too. I mean, we see him every week on the
Yeah,
Green Room. He
exactly.
graces us with his cameo presence, but getting to
Exactly.
talk to him in the flesh was really cool. So I'm grateful
Yes.
for the both of them for stopping by for a great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful conversation with those guys there. And again, I love it when we get the experts on. And again, that gets the questions really rolling and all of that. So I'm sorry to those of you that we didn't get any of those questions answered. But I know for sure if you went over to Tom Spellman's YouTube page and you got onto one of his most recent videos, again, tell him that you saw him here on the green room, but ask him that question. I'm sure he'll jump on and get you an answer to your question if you didn't get an answer here tonight. And real quick here, though, too, usually I'm going to be telling everybody about what we got coming up here and everything, but not too much coming up right now at the moment. Again, we're kind of on a little bit of a lull. We will have some shows coming up next Saturday, whether I got to come hang out with you or not myself, like we did this last Saturday. And Sunday, we're going to have our good friend Bowtie David joining us live from the Baker Creek Heirloom, the Heirloom Seed Company's spring garden fair that they have out there. So that's going to be really awesome. So you'll definitely want to come and join with us for that. And then again, keep an eye out on this space. And we'll have another great green room for you as well this next Monday night for you. How's you got anything special coming up on the Fresh Princess for everybody?
I mean, yeah, the grow tent is opening. What do you mean? I'm just kidding.
I mean,
It's
is
a
it
very exciting week. I've been waiting
Yeah.
so long to get back into my grow tent and the outdoor garden. In the next few weeks, this coming week, I'm gonna order the dirt and start wheeling it into the backyard and filling the beds. So busy week, busy month, busy life, but that's the life of a gardener, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. What about yourself?
Wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah, more so for me. Like I was saying earlier, we're hardening off tomatoes and other plants and starting to get some things. I'm working on direct seeding out some stuff in some other spaces, more cleanup. Like I said, I let a lot go this last winter, but we'll get on top of all of that stuff here in the next coming weeks as well, too, as everything gets going. But again, really awesome show. Really awesome to hang out with all of you guys. Be sure to continue to follow along with us. All of the links down below to all of our contributors, our guests, Natalie over at the Fresh Princess. Go follow along with her live streams throughout the week. And we'll see all of you right here on the Urban Gardener channel this next Saturday. So we'll see all of you then.
Power out.